I want to start off the video by saying how extremely disappointed I am with Diablo 4, especially the endgame itemization, and it's something I'm going to get into later on in the video. I have a list here of all the things that all the issues of the game, and how disappointed I am. And going into Diablo 4, like I'm in my 30s, right? And I'm looking for that next Diablo 2 game, right? That got me so hooked when I was a kid. And I'm thinking, hey, Diablo 4, I'm looking, I played the beta, I had fun with the beta. It felt good. But the beta was only the level 20, right? Or level 25. And I'm thinking to myself, man, this game feels good. That it's coming back to the darker atmosphere of Diablo 2 and 1. So I'm like, man, this has got the ingredients to be that next D2 game. So in Diablo 3, like it was okay, but it wasn't a Diablo to its soul core game. So I was hoping Diablo 4 was going to be that next big thing, that bringing Diablo back to Diablo, and boy was I wrong. Uh, and I made that mistake. I was looking through that nostalgia type of glasses, and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And it's a shame, and I should have known because this isn't Blizzard North anymore. This isn't the same Blizzard that if you grew up how I grew up, we grew up with those Blizzard North guys that wasn't hooked on to Activision. These are not the same guys at all. So let's get into some of my list here. I have just another side note. I will never pre-order a game again unless it's like made by Nintendo, because Nintendo has delivered games like Zelda, Mario Kart, other games, AAA games from Nintendo. But any other game, I will not pre-order ever again. I made a mistake pre-ordering Diablo 4. Game wasn't ready to be released yet. Just a side note here. I learned my lesson. A lot of people always tell me don't pre-order a game, and I was high on that copium for D4, and you know here's the issues. Here's the issues. The biggest issue I have with Diablo 4, well, one of the two biggest issues I have with Diablo 4 is, of course, the items, the itemization, right? So let's get into the itemization in general. When you look and you're presented with an item, you have all these damage types. You have what is it, 13, 14, 15 different damage types? It's ridiculous. It's way too much. I'll give you an example. You do more damage the closer you are to enemies. Like, who cares? You do more damage the further you away from enemies. Like that's ridiculous. Just keep it simple, physical, cold, fire damage. Like what else? What else? Physical, cold, arcane damage, something like that. I don't know, holy damage, right? So stick to those damages. I don't know. And then another type of damage is if you're full health, you get an additional damage increase. Like it's just there's too many damage types. You're not going to get all these damage types on one item, of course, but there's too many, and they can roll so many different ways. And then it's so hard to get what you want on an item, right? So it's just like what a terrible implementation to itemization, in my opinion. So another deal with itemization is well, I always had I mean it's kind of like it kind of ties in, but I've always had issues with the scaling, okay? And scaling can be a good thing and scaling can be a bad thing, right? But I'm not behind the scaling. All right, because we all saw the chart when we first got introduced to the game where as you go up, well, the monsters levels are going to go up with you and their armor. So it's like you never experience that power surge, you know? And even if you do, you get a great item. You know, you get a legendary that like the affix on it is good and it makes and yeah, and it feels good for maybe 2 or 3 levels, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, we're back to having the monster scale with you again. Like it's kind of maddening. It's there's no power. I want to feel powerful when I get a good item, and especially if that item's rare, right? So, like I said, if you don't like Diablo 2, if you didn't grow up with Diablo 2 and never played Diablo 2, I'm not the guy to be listening to right now, because I just felt Diablo 2 was such a great place as far as power progression and itemization goes. Like there's no matching it. Diablo 3 didn't match it, and Diablo 4 sure as hell is not matching it either. So like I'm not a good I'm not a good guy to listen to right now if you never played Diablo 2, especially the itemization. Just bring that in. So I want to try to keep this video under 10 minutes, so I don't want to keep going on and on about itemization. We know it's bad, and we know it needs to be just and I don't think they can fix it. I don't think they can fix it in this game. They need to work on Diablo 5 right now, because it's just the itemization is just terrible, you know. So and again, let's talk about more of the items. There's the chase items, right? The big items are those uniques, and I'm glad they brought the uniques back, and I'm glad they put them at a high level, and they're rare, right? And they should be rare, but that rare, with the like people trying to find Shakos, right? They cannot. No one can find Shakos. It's too rare, way too rare. There's no magic find gear you can help you with that. You have to be in world tier 4 to find it, right? You can't be in world tier 3, no tier 2 to find these uniques. You got to be in tier 4, you know, is your best place to find it, right? There's no other option, okay? And let's go back to the scaling feature. It's like, okay, you know that if a unique you drops at like a level 85, 90, whatever, and it is a Shaco, right? Which is incredibly rare to drop. That Shaco is going to be required level 90 or 92 or a couple levels in between, higher or lower. So what does that tell us? There is no the Shaco. And I'm going back to Diablo 2. The Shaco requirement level was 65. There was no scaling with it, right? It had a certain roll percentages of, you know, if you got a perfect Shaco or if you got, you know, maybe a little bit worse Shaco. But if you find a Shaco at level 85 and it's required for level 85, it's going to have a certain roll stats. And then you go your level 100 and it's going to be required 85. Then you get a Shaco at level 100. Don't you think that Shaco should be better, right? Because you got it at level 100. But it's the same. I think it's the same roll stats, right? But then the requirement level is level 100. So I can't, I'll never be able to give that to my guy that I'm trying to start off unless he's level 100 requirement level. So that's why I'm saying we have these Shakos that drop. We don't have, I'm sorry, we have a Shakos that drop, not the Shaco that drops. I don't like that about this game, because in Diablo 2 we had the Shaco that dropped, and that Shaco dropped, I think, in a nightmare. It was a nightmare. It was a difficulty below hell. You know, I'm sure you can find it in hell, but nightmare I had the more percentage to drop it, and that brings to, you know, we'll go into the end game later, but you know, as far as itemization goes, like damn, it's like wow, I'm almost at the 10-minute mark, and we're freaking still talking about itemization. But there's no, let's just continue. There's no magic find. There's no gold find. So if I want to create a gold find equipment, right? Which costs me power. If I want to create a magic find equipment, that'll cost me power, but I'll have a higher chance of finding gold. I'll have a higher chance of finding the items that I want to have drop, right? The chase items. So, you know, that's a shame that I don't have that in this game. Another layer of the game taken away, right? Let's go into trading. There's no real trading, right? The only trading is gold and yellow items. That's going to give you replacing a couple levels anyway, right? Unless you're looking at Endgame. But that's it. That's boring. That's so boring. If we didn't have the power of the internet and everybody looking at videos all the time, I would have never knew Shaco was in the game. because it doesn't drop, right? At least with trading, open trading, you have that, like, oh, this guy wants to trade for a shake. Oh, I didn't even know shake was in the game. And that brings, that brings into the, actually, I'm gonna cover that at the end, but let's drop the items for a little bit. There's tons of more items. I just want to make this a little quicker. Let's go into Endgame. There is no end game, right? You run nightmare dungeons, you go to the hell tides, and even the hell times are done very quickly. Um, I like the concept of hell tides, but it's just like it's just I don't know. It's a hard attempt to try to get something in the open world and have it not really work. You know, I think recently they did correct the density, so they are trying, for the Hell Tides open world stuff. But the real thing is the Nightmare Dungeons. You just run them until you're 100. You run them, and to increase your paragon points and upgrade them, and that's it. You know. Um, what about the cow level? That could have been another end game thing. It's been months and months. We haven't seen any. I'm sorry. It's been about 2.5 months. We haven't seen any cow level. That's just something people look forward to. And maybe it'll come, in season 2 or season 3. I don't know, but there you gotta have I'm not saying cow level. Maybe it's in the game, right? And it's super secret. Nobody's figured out again. So, but I'm just saying a cow level would be an end game feature for the game, right? But either no one's figured it out or they don't have it in the game at all. And people are looking forward to that. It's fun. It's a fun thing to do. Social, and I'm including this in game because the social, network of the game is more terrible than Diablo 3, and of course a lot more terrible than Diablo 2. Diablo 2 had more social aspects of the game than Diablo 4 does, and Diablo 4 is supposed to be an MMO light game, and I don't like that either. I don't like how, Diablo 4 is MMO light, whatever you want to call it. Don't like it. Um, People don't want to group up. I have somebody in my party right now, but he is non-communicative. I invited him just to get more experience, but then he went his own. He's never said anything. I don't know if these guys are all bots or what, but nobody wants to group up. There's no, party implementation to be able to just group up with people randomly, force you to group up randomly. Besides, the world boss, right, where they just throw you in with a bunch of people, not even a party, just around you. You need like 12 or 13 players to beat the boss or whatever. That's it. And nobody talks to. The only time people talk is in trade chat. Nobody talks in general or any of those chats. And I think a big part of that social integration is that because everything's in a little server, and it's so small. Honestly, I'm talking like an old goat here, but I miss the days where you hopped in the lobby before you created your game, and this way, at least the lobby, there was like 40, 50 people in the lobby instead of what 14, 15 people in the server here or whatever, like, and then it's just like you can create your own lobbies and stuff like that and channels, like the social integration in Diablo 2 and even to a point Diablo 3 was way better than what we have in Diablo 4. And that hurts the game too. Because humans are relatively they're social beings. So hey, it's another end game thing that, you know, needs to be improved on. Specific bosses to farm. I'm going back to Diablo 2 again. We had Mephisto, we had Baal, we had Pinto Skin, we had, Andario, we had, and those bosses were live. You go in the boss and they come at you. You go in the room, they come out. There was no, enclosed arena where you fight a boss. And I know why they do that. Is so they have the enclosed arena and they can shape how the boss mechanics fight and stuff like that. Whatever. I honestly, I honestly thought Andario was easy, but in Diablo 2 was easy but tough at the same time, especially if you're new to the game, and it gave you a challenge without enclosing an arena around the boss. But I don't think that's ever going to be changed. but at least have somewhere we can go and farm a boss for maybe a specific item that drops from the boss or has a higher chance to drop from the boss. So that's my 2 cents on that. And I think they are kind of releasing that. If I just saw the season 2 notes recently, so we'll see. We'll put that on hold. Maybe that's something they are working on. Um, Features of the game, real quick. You see the gameplay I have right now going on. Why is that so close? Why can't I have it zoomed out a little bit? There's parts of the game like when you're entering a city or something and it's zoomed out and it looks so good. Why can't I have the game zoomed out all the time like that? Diablo 2 has that feature where you can zoom in and zoom out very far, and see more enemies. I think that's a cool thing. I don't know if it's like a graphical thing, people can handle it, whatever, but I miss that. I miss that. And that's something Diablo 4 obviously does not have. We just saw the map, right? Another feature. What happened to the overlay map? Diablo 2 had the overlay map. I think Diablo 3 had the overlay map. I can't remember. PoE has the overlay map. Path of Exile. Why is not? You just saw me open up the map. I've got to open up my map and it takes out my whole screen. I can't see what's going on, and all I want to do is see where I'm coming from or where I came from, and so I'm laid out. I have a layout of the map and where I'm going. I can't believe they haven't done that. So that's another issue, right? That can be easily fixed. And I want to say another feature, or this feature, of course, is what we're seeing in all these games coming out. Is they're putting too much emphasis on battle pass, on the shop, and of course, any company, anybody watching this video right now knows damn well why. Is because of passive income for a game that you already paid for, 60, $70 you already paid for, and Blizzard, Activision trying to find a way to create passive income from the game. We look at the shop. The shop offers all these skins, all these, not skins, but different armor upgrades and different cosmetic features and stuff like that. And half of them, more than half of them, look like shit. It's like why? And then the battle pass stuff. Get the battle pass. Let's say, and then you get in certain cosmetic items. Is that your focus. Companies are focused too much on that shit, that versus them fixing their own damn game, and it's a shame. You look at companies like Elden Ring, perfect example of they're not shoving DLC down your throat. They're not. I mean, like DLC every like couple like months. They completed a game. They don't have a shop. They don't have a battle pass. They have a complete game that they completed, and it became game of the year, right? Easy. And they made their money, and now they're a reputable company. They're more of a reputable company. Look at a recently released Baldur's Gate 3. Now that's not my type of game because of the turn-based, but I might even give it a shot because of how good it is and how they don't have the battle pass. They don't have a shop, to milk the money off of you, So that's a testimony of a great game, because you know why? They didn't put so many resources on trying to make money passively income. They made the resources making a great game from the get-go. And this has already hurt Diablo 4. It has already hurt it. And I want to just end saying that um, I've learned my lesson. I've learned my lesson. I made a video 7, 8 years ago about how I thought Diablo 4 was going to be a disappointment. And here I am. All the hopium, all that stuff I was drinking for the beta. And here we are. No end game. No social aspect of the game. Itemization is still absolute hell. And I was right 8 years ago. And I know I didn't want to be right. I did not want to be right because I love Diablo. I love this game, you know. But this is not Diablo is not the same game. It's not the same company that we had so many years ago, especially the guys who grew up. And I'm already 20 minutes into, but I just ran. I needed a rant. Man, I even stopped ranting, dude. how disappointed I am with the game. And I will say a few good things that will end on a good note. I like that. And I'm going to Diablo 4. The graphics are great. It's back to where I think it should be. The dark atmosphere was good. I like it. I enjoy the impacts of the game. The combat is good. No complaints there. No, I think they did an excellent job. I think the story was amazing. I thought it was way better than Diablo 3 story. 100%. 100%. I really enjoyed Diablo 4 story. The cinematic, of course, the cinematic for Blizzard never misses. You guys are doing a great job. And I'm trying to think. I think the builds, the more builds you can do, and the aesthetic of the builds impact was good. Um, so I didn't have any complaints there. So they have a core at the core of the game. It's good, but the end game and no social integration into the game is really hurting them, incredibly hurting them. The itemization of the game incredibly hurting them, and they have such a good game at its core, and then all these other issues is big issues, huge issues that make the game not fun to play. So it's an incredible disappointment um, in that regards. So that we'll see. Hey, Diablo 5, maybe they improved the game. I don't know. I know Diablo 2 wasn't real good when it first came out, but it got a lot better. So I guess almost same thing with Diablo 3. So maybe this will be the same in Diablo 4. But had they not learned their lesson after so many years of being a company and development, you know, why can't they do this? Why can't they bring out a good game at it and have it a good game? You know, Lost Ark, Path of Exile. I mean, even in the Twitch views and the Kick views and the YouTube views, they still maintain a great player base. Diablo 4, the views on Diablo 4 have gone down tremendously, tremendously. So that's unfortunate. Unfortunate. I will end that with I will end my rant there. So thank you for watching. I appreciate it. You can subscribe. Join me on kick.com, RuffianX. Guys, have a good day. Later.